You're listening to the Be Nice to Yourself podcast with Natalia Schneimler, episode 14. Welcome to Be Nice to Yourself podcast that will give you practical tools to finally be nice to yourself so you can stop yelling at your kids and enjoy being a mom. Using coaching and lots of love, I'm your Russian Canadian host, certified life coach, and mom of 4, Natalia Schneidmiller. Hello, hey guys, how's it going? I am back from vacation, which was on a lake with a boat. We spent a bunch of time tubing behind the boat, water skiing, spent time on the beach, by the pool. The kids loved it. My parents were there. It was just perfect. It was hot. The weather was just amazing. And we're back to normal life. Kids are in camp. My other kids are at the playground. I'm here talking to you. Life could not be better. So today I want to talk to you about connection. So I've been talking a lot about, how to stop yelling at your kids or how to enjoy time with your kids. And from all of you, I have also been hearing things like, I can't stand being in the same room as with my mother. I just, or I just want to have a good marriage with my husband, or I just want us to have a good conversations. I just want us to be able to talk, right? So what all of those things have in common is we all want, why do we want to stop fighting with people? Why do we want to have a good conversation? Why do we want to be in the same room with them and feel good? Because we want to feel connected to the people, to our mother, to our husband, to our children, to friends. We want to feel connected. And we usually think, some of us, right? We think that connection comes from different things. Like we think, spending quality time will, make us feel connected with that person. That's what I for sure have thought on several occasions with my husband, right? I'll be like, we need to go on a date. We need to spend time together so that we're connected, right? So that we feel we're good. With my kids, I need to have good conversations with them. They need to be able to talk to me. I need to be listening for us to be connected. The same with my mom and my dad, right? And my friends, we need to have a good time together to be connected. And so when we think that, we are then not really addressing where the connection is coming from. We think the connection is coming from that time with the person. But the truth of it is the connection is always coming from our thoughts about that person. And the recent example I just want to tell you about it, is a great example when we are connected to our people, to the person, when we're not with them. So I was folding laundry for my kids, and I noticed that I was feeling really loving towards my kids. I was like, oh my gosh, this is Tyler's, this is Austin's, putting them all in 4 different piles. And these are so small, these are so cute. Look at these shorts, right? I just noticed that I love folding laundry for them. And I found it so interesting that I was feeling that towards my kids without them being there, right? And so that is such a good example of us creating that feeling of love and connection and just with the person without them being there, right? So the same happens when we spend time with the people. We think that spending time with the people is what creates our connection with them, but it's still, in this case, it's still what we think about those people that creates it for us. For example, let's say you go on a date with your husband and you guys have a great time. And at the end of the date and through the date and the next day and even before, right? You are thinking thoughts like, oh, awesome, we're going to spend some time together. We're going to go on a canoe ride. We're going to have dinner. It's going to be super great. Then while you're doing it, you have thoughts like, this is so nice just to be two of us without the kids. We can actually talk, right? Then the next day afterwards, you're thinking thoughts like, oh, it was so great to just be together and just to relax, and we got to talk, and now I know what he's thinking more, and things like that, right? Though all those thoughts are what create your feeling of connection. Because also, if you have a date with your husband and you have a fight with him on that date, which could have happened to me, maybe one day, but so when you, let's say, have a date and you have a fight with your husband, it's not the fight that's going to make you feel upset and disconnected. Again, it's the thoughts, right? You're going to think, oh my gosh, we had a terrible date. We fought. What a waste of time. We should have gone so much better. Why do we always fight, etc., 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 right? So it's those thoughts that are going to create that feeling of disconnect, of disappointment, of resentment, of anger, frustration, right? So it's not what you do with that person that's going to make you feel love and connection to them, but what you think about them, right? So I want to give you another example. I had that back and forth in my head and in my life about me and my husband. When we, in the evening after kids are in bed, we used to always watch a show together and have a snack. And I don't have after dinner snack anymore, but we still watch shows together. And there came a point where I stopped watching a show with my husband because I wanted to do my coaching business and to learn more about coaching. So I was really into it. So in the evenings, then I would start spending time doing that. And my thought about it was, you know what, this is totally fine. I'm going to go learn, and I gave my husband a kiss and a hug, and we just chat a bit, and I felt super great about that, about me and my husband, and I would go away and learn, right? But then came a time when I had this thought, oh my gosh, we're not watching a show together. We must be disconnected. And as soon as I thought that, right away I found so much evidence that we are disconnected, that we're not spending time together, we're not watching a show, we're not even doing anything together in the evenings now every day, etc., etc., etc. So then all those thoughts made me feel frustrated, disappointed. I felt like something was wrong. I felt like we were off. I felt disconnected from my husband. I felt like we are not kind of doing the marriage as we're supposed to be, and I just was super off, right? So then I did work, and I kind of on myself, and even talking to my husband, right? Just figuring out like what is it that he wants for evening time. Does he want me there, or what are his thoughts, right? And so I have been going back and forth thinking that, sometimes I'm thinking that we are disconnected because we're not watching a show together. So I'm attributing it to us spending time together and not to my thoughts about it. And then there are times when I am completely happy that I am doing my own thing in the evening and he's doing his own thing because of a thought that I'm thinking. And the thought could be, you know what, I love him. I'm going to go talk to him now, see how he's doing, how he's feeling. Okay, he's good. All right. I give him a hug and a kiss, and then I go do my own thing, right? When I have that thinking going on in my head, then I feel connected to him. And actually, I do go and spend 5, 10, 20 minutes chatting with him because my thought is this is not a problem. And then I do create time with him that is actually communicating with him and talking to him and connecting with him versus me just sitting there watching a show with him, right? There was also times when I watched a show with him that I was not feeling connected with him. And why is that? Is because I was kind of trying to fit myself into that mold of, okay, let's spend time together. And I did not want to be watching this show specifically. I just wanted to go do my coaching thing, right? So I would sit there and watch a show that I didn't want to be watching, resenting, like, I don't even know who myself, him, the show. I was like, this is kind of stupid, right? For me to feel connected to him, I have to do something I don't want to do. And while I was doing that, I was not connecting with him. I was resenting the whole situation, right? So again and again, I have seen how the connection is not created by what we do with that person. It is always, always, always what we think. So you can take the same situation, and in one instance, you can feel connected to the person, and because of what you're thinking, and in another instance where you're doing the exact same thing, you can feel completely withdrawn, you completely lack of love, kind of frustrated, angry, whatever it is, right? Disappointed. So I wanted to kind of give that opportunity to you to think about this and to notice, when is it that you are creating that feeling for yourself of connection when you're not with the person. I want you to study that first, because that will be super fascinating for you to notice that the person doesn't even have to be there for you to love them, to feel love towards them, to feel so warm and feel connected, and to think of them in such an amazing way, right? One of the thoughts that really creates a lot of good, like warm, connected, loving feeling for me is, oh my gosh, they're so cute, for my kids. Like, it seems like such a simple little thing, that thought. It's not, it doesn't even seem like a thought or a sentence to me. It's like almost a dismissive little remark, but I've noticed that that one is such an amazing thought for me to think, because I feel such strong love for my kids when I think it, that I try to now think it on purpose a lot more now that I've noticed it, right? And for my husband, I think, oh my gosh, he's amazing, right? Like, holy smokes. Like, yeah, I think those thoughts, and I say them out loud sometimes to him, and when he's cooked dinner, or even just thank you for making dinner, like thoughts like that, like small acknowledgments or small observations like that, are what makes up a lot of your thinking in your head. And if you really take a look at it and see that these little insignificant remarks are what create your feelings, like, shine a light on them, zoom them in, magnify them, and recognize how powerful they are, because when you think them, you feel super good about that person. So the other thing I want you to notice is, notice how much easier it is to feel loving and good thoughts about the person when they're not there, right? It's almost easier to love them when they're not right in front of you, some people, right? Because you don't have to deal with the reality of what that person does and says. So I want you to start just there and start noticing how much easier it is to love them when they're not there, because your thoughts, your thinking are easier to believe when they're not in front of you, right? Like, oh my gosh, they're so cute is easier to believe when they're not in front of you, when you're just folding laundry. Then it's easier to believe then when they're right in front of you and they're having a tantrum and are not listening and are fighting with their brother. It's so much harder to believe they're so cute, he's so cute at that moment, right? And then in the next episode, I will talk about, what do you do when the person is in front of you? How do you connect with them? How do you love them then when you can't, believe all the thoughts you want to believe about them, right? Like, how can you feel love towards someone who's fighting with you, who's not listening, who's having a tantrum, who's saying things that you don't like, right? So I'm going to talk about that next time, and how you can create connection in that moment. But for now, I want you to start just noticing, how do you feel about the people in your life when you're not with them? and how notice how that feeling is not coming from that person or what the person did or what the person said. It's all coming from what you're thinking in your head in that moment. Okay, just start there, notice the feelings, and start observing how good it feels to think really insignificant, small little observations about them and how they create connection for you, and how all you want in your life is just to connect with the people in your life, and notice when it is that you're not feeling connected with them, and try to see if you can find a thought that's creating that disconnect for you. Okay? Hope you guys have a great week. Let me know how this connecting goes for you. I'd love to talk to you about it and answer any questions. I love you guys. Bye.